It was raining again. The kind of rain that made the city glow under the streetlights, washing away the dust but leaving the loneliness behind. Inside his small apartment, Ethan Ward sat quietly, staring at his computer screen. He was an ordinary man. No friends, no family nearby, just his job and a tired life that never changed. He was about to go to bed when, knock, 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 someone knocked at his door. It was past midnight. Ethan froze. Who could it be at this hour? He waited for a moment, thinking maybe he imagined it. But the knock came again, louder this time. He took a deep breath, stood up, and walked to the door. When he opened it, he saw a woman standing there. She looked strange. Her clothes were torn, soaked in rain, and covered in dirt. Her skin had a faint bluish glow under the porch light. Her eyes, large and silver, didn't look human. I'm sorry, she said in a shaking voice. I only have $3, please. Let me shower at your home, human. Ethan blinked. For a few seconds, he thought it was a prank. Maybe some drunk cosplayer? But her voice, so soft, so tired, felt real. Water dripped from her hair onto the floor. She was shivering. Who are you? Ethan asked carefully. She looked down. My name? Doesn't matter. I just need water, please. Something in her voice made Ethan's heart ache. She sounded scared, like she had nowhere else to go. Against his better judgment, he opened the door wider. Come in. She stepped inside slowly, her bare feet leaving small puddles on the wooden floor. Ethan noticed her hands, 3 fingers and a thumb. Not human. Definitely not. He handed her a towel. You can use the bathroom. It's that door over there. She took the towel gently, her silver eyes filled with gratitude. Thank you, human. Ethan watched as she walked into the bathroom. When the door closed, he leaned on the wall trying to make sense of what just happened. An alien woman? Asking to shower? It sounded insane. But his gut told him this was no dream. Minutes passed. He could hear the shower running. He noticed something on the floor. A small round device glowing faintly blue. It looked like a piece of advanced technology, unlike anything he'd ever seen. When he touched it, the light pulsed faster. Suddenly, the lights in his apartment flickered. A strange static filled the air, like invisible electricity buzzing around. Then a faint sound from outside. A low hum, mechanical and distant, coming from the night sky. Ethan ran to the window. Through the heavy rain, he saw 3 dark shapes floating above the street, silent like shadows against the clouds. They weren't planes. They were ships. And they were searching for something. He felt a chill crawl down his spine. The woman. They were looking for her. The shower stopped. The bathroom door opened. She stepped out, clean now, wrapped in the towel, her blue skin faintly glowing in the dim light. There were strange glowing marks on her shoulders like alien symbols. Thank you, Ethan, she said softly. You saved me tonight. He stared at her. Saved you? From what? Her eyes darkened. From them. The window suddenly shattered, glass flying across the room. A red beam of light sliced through the air, barely missing her. She screamed. Ethan grabbed her hand, pulling her to the floor. Outside, the floating ships grew louder, shining beams of red light into the street. Who are they? Ethan shouted. They are hunters, she whispered. And they won't stop until I'm dead. The hum grew louder. The entire apartment shook. Ethan's heart pounded as he pulled her toward the back door. Where can we go? He asked. She looked at him, her silver eyes glowing with fear and something else. Hope. Somewhere they can't find me, she said. Somewhere. Under the ground. The two ran into the night rain as another red beam struck the building behind them, turning it into fire and smoke. Ethan didn't know who she was, or what he had just stepped into, but one thing was clear. His life would never be the same again. And above the burning building, the 3 ships turned their lights toward them and followed. The street was dark, the rain falling harder now. Ethan ran, his heart pounding, holding the strange alien woman's hand as they splashed through puddles. Behind them, the sky flashed red, searchlights from the hovering ship scanning every corner. Faster, she whispered, her voice trembling. They are closing in. Ethan didn't ask questions. He only knew one thing. If those ships caught them, it would be over. They turned down a narrow alley, the smell of wet garbage and smoke filling the air. Ethan's shoes slipped on the wet ground, but the woman's grip was strong. Her glowing skin faintly lit the way. Who are they? He shouted over the noise. Hunters, she said. They track my kind. I escaped their ship. Why you? Because I stole something from them, she whispered. Before Ethan could ask more, a beam of red light cut across the alley, hitting a metal bin and melting it instantly. The air burned with heat. Ethan threw himself behind a wall, pulling her with him. She pressed her palm on the wall. For a moment, the brick shimmered. Then part of the wall opened like a secret door. Ethan's mouth fell open. How did you— No time, she said, dragging him inside. The wall sealed shut behind them. They found themselves in a dark tunnel beneath the city. Pipes ran along the ceiling, and the sound of dripping water echoed in the distance. Ethan caught his breath. What is this place? She looked around. Old human sewer. Safe for now. Ethan finally looked at her closely. Her face was strange but beautiful. Smooth blue skin, bright eyes, faint glowing veins on her neck. She looked both fragile and powerful at once. What's your name? He asked. She hesitated. Lyra. Okay, Lyra, I need answers. Who are you, really? Why did you come to my door? Lyra looked down at her hands. I didn't plan to. I crashed my escape pod in your city. My body was weak. I needed water to survive. Your kind has plenty of it. So you just picked my house? No, she said softly. Your home had a strong power signal. My device led me there. Ethan remembered the glowing disc he had picked up earlier. This thing? He pulled it out from his jacket. The device was still glowing faintly. Lyra's eyes widened. You touched it? Yeah, why? She grabbed his wrist. It's not safe. That device links to my ship. It's a beacon. They can track it. Ethan's stomach dropped. You mean they know where we are now? Yes, she said, fear filling her voice. We must destroy it. She snatched the disc and slammed it against the tunnel wall. The blue light flared, then burst into sparks before dying out. For a moment, silence returned. Only the dripping water broke it. Ethan sighed. So now what? Lyra looked into the shadows. We go deeper. There's a safe place underground. My people once hid there. They started walking again through the dark tunnel. The deeper they went, the warmer it got. Strange marks were carved on the tunnel walls, symbols that glowed faintly when Lyra passed by. Ethan touched one. It felt warm, alive. What are these? Old signs, Lyra said. Made by my kind long ago. Some of us came here before your people learned fire. Ethan blinked. You mean, aliens have been on Earth for thousands of years? Yes, she said simply. But we stayed hidden. Humans were not ready. He didn't know what to say. The idea was impossible, but everything tonight was impossible. Then the tunnel shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. A deep mechanical rumble echoed behind them. They found us, Lyra whispered. Red light spilled through the tunnel entrance. The hunters were here. Ethan grabbed a rusty pipe from the ground. What do we do? Lyra's eyes glowed brighter. Run, I'll hold them off. No, Ethan shouted. You'll die. She smiled sadly. Better me than you. You helped me when no one else would. Before he could argue, she raised her hands. Blue light exploded from her palms, filling the tunnel. The air cracked with energy as the first hunter drones appeared. Metal creatures with red eyes and sharp legs. Ethan felt his body pulled back by a blast of wind as Lyra fired a wave of blue energy. The drones shattered into pieces, sparks flying everywhere. But the blast also weakened her. She fell to her knees, breathing hard. Ethan ran back to her, lifting her arm. Come on, you're not dying here. She looked at him with tired eyes. Ethan, you don't know what you've done. Helping me will make you their target too. He smiled faintly. Too late to worry about that. They stumbled deeper into the darkness as explosions echoed behind them. Far above, the city lights flickered. The hunters searched from the sky, scanning the earth below. And in the tunnel's deepest shadows, a new sound began. A hum, low and ancient, coming from the ground itself. Lyra's eyes widened in shock. It's not just me they're after, she whispered. Something is waking up. The tunnel grew wider as Ethan and Lyra moved deeper into the ground. The dripping sound faded. The air was heavy and warm, filled with a faint metallic smell. Ethan's flashlight flickered, showing strange shapes carved into the walls. Spirals, stars, and circles connected by lines. What is this place? He whispered. Lyra's voice was soft but full of awe. It's not human. This place was built before your kind even dreamed of cities. They stepped into a huge underground chamber. The ceiling was so high they could barely see it. In the center stood a massive machine half buried in rock and time. It was made of black metal that shimmered faintly like water, even in the dim light. Ethan stared, breathless. "Is that a ship?" Lyra shook her head. "No, it's older than any ship. It's a world seed, a core of my people's creation. I never thought one still existed." She walked closer. The ground under her feet glowed faintly blue with every step, like it was waking up after a long sleep. Ethan followed her carefully. The air seemed to vibrate around the machine as if it was breathing. "Lyra," he said slowly. "What does it do?" She looked at him, her silver eyes reflecting the glowing floor. "It can shape worlds. It can turn dead land into life. But in the wrong hands," her voice trailed off, "it can also destroy everything." Ethan felt a chill. "So that's why they're hunting you. Because of this." "Yes," she said. "They want the seed. I escaped with its key, the beacon you touched." He frowned. "But we destroyed it," she nodded. "We destroyed the tracker part. But the connection is still there. It means—" Her eyes widened. "It means the seed can hear me again." The entire chamber trembled. The machine's dark surface began to move, metal plates sliding open like giant flower petals. Light poured from the cracks, bright and cold. The air filled with deep humming, so low it made Ethan's chest shake. "Lyra, what's happening?" he shouted over the noise. "It's awakening," she said. "It's answering my signal." He backed away as the light grew brighter. In the center of the machine, a floating crystal rose slowly from the ground, spinning and glowing. Strange symbols appeared on its surface. Lyra raised her hand. "It knows me. It remembers my bloodline." Ethan could barely hear her. The humming grew into a roar. The whole cavern shook like an earthquake. Then, sudden silence. The light faded until only a gentle blue glow remained. Lyra stood in front of the machine, her face calm but pale. "What did you do?" Ethan asked. She turned to him. "I asked it to protect us. For now, it will shield this place." He looked around. "Then we're safe?" Lyra shook her head. "Not yet. The hunters will sense the awakening. They'll come faster now." Ethan sighed. "Great, and we're trapped underground with a sleeping god machine." Lyra almost smiled. "You humans always joke when you're scared." He shrugged. "It's how we survive." They sat near the glowing floor, both exhausted. The rain and explosions above felt far away now, like another world. For the first time since midnight, Ethan had a moment to breathe. "Lyra," he said quietly, "what happens if the hunters get the machine?" Her voice trembled slightly. "They'll use it to rebuild their empire. They'll drain Earth's oceans and make it their own world." Ethan stared at her. "Then we can't let that happen." She looked surprised. "You would fight for a world that isn't even ready to believe?" "It's my world," he said simply. "And I'm already in this mess. Might as well see it through." For a moment, silence hung between them. Then Lyra smiled. The first true smile he'd seen from her. "There is more to humans than I was taught," she said softly. "You're strange, but brave." Suddenly, the blue glow flickered. Lyra's smile faded. She looked toward the tunnel they came from. Ethan heard it too, a faint metallic click. Then another. Something was coming. He stood up, gripping the rusty pipe again. "The hunters?" Lyra shook her head slowly. "No, these footsteps. They're heavier. Human soldiers." A voice echoed from the tunnel. "This is Commander Reeves of Earth Defense. Step away from the structure." Ethan froze. "Wait, Earth Defense? How did they know we were here?" Lyra whispered. "They must have tracked the energy surge." Soldiers appeared from the shadows, guns raised. Their helmets shone under the blue light of the machine. Ethan raised his hands. "Wait, she's not the enemy!" Reeves looked at Lyra coldly. "She's the reason half the city's power grid exploded. We're taking her in." Lyra stepped back, fear flashing in her eyes. "Ethan, if they take me, they'll hand me over to the hunters." Ethan turned to Reeves. "She's not lying. The real threat is up there, in the sky." Reeves didn't answer. His radio crackled and a panicked voice said, "Sir, incoming ships, 3 of them, descending fast." The soldiers looked up. The ground shook again. Above the chamber, the ceiling began to crack as the hunters' ships broke through the earth. Lyra grabbed Ethan's hand. "It's too late, they've found us." The light from the world seed flared brighter, wrapping around them like fire. Ethan barely had time to think before the ground split open, and the ancient machine came fully alive. The ceiling burst open with a thunderous roar. Rocks and dust rained down as 3 massive hunter ships forced their way underground. Red light filled the chamber like fire. The soldiers shouted and raised their weapons, but their bullets did nothing against the glowing shields of the alien ships. "Everyone fall back," Commander Reeves yelled. Ethan pulled Lyra behind a large piece of broken metal as energy blasts slammed into the ground. The entire chamber shook. The giant machine, the world seed, began to pulse again, reacting to the chaos. Lyra's voice trembled. "It feels my fear. It's waking faster than it should." "Then control it," Ethan shouted over the noise. "I can't," she said. "It responds to emotion, not commands." The world seed glowed brighter, veins of blue light crawling along the walls like rivers. One of the hunter ships opened its front bay, revealing dark shapes inside. Dozens of metallic drones poured out, their red eyes scanning for targets. Reeves and his soldiers fired back, their gunfire echoing through the cavern. Sparks, smoke, and screams filled the air. One drone hit a soldier's armor, sending him flying across the room. Ethan grabbed a fallen soldier's rifle. He didn't know how to use it properly, but instinct told him to aim and pull the trigger. Blue energy bolts flew from the weapon, hitting a drone and shattering it. He blinked in surprise. "Guess I'm learning fast." Lyra was kneeling, both hands pressed against the glowing floor. Her silver eyes were wide open, her veins shining bright. "Ethan!" "I can link the seed to your energy. It trusts humans more than it trusts me." "What does that mean?" he shouted. She reached out her glowing hand. "Give me your hand!" Without thinking, Ethan grabbed it. A surge of light shot through him like lightning. His mind filled with strange visions. Oceans turning to glass, cities growing from dust, and stars being born in silence. The power of the world seed rushed through him. He gasped, feeling both pain and wonder. "What is this?" "The power to protect or destroy," Lyra whispered. "You must choose." Before he could answer, one of the hunter ships fired a massive red beam straight at them. Lyra screamed. Instinct took over. Ethan raised his other hand and a wall of blue light exploded outward, blocking the beam. Everyone, soldiers, drones, even Lyra, stared in shock. Ethan had just used the seed's power. Reeves shouted from across the room. "What the hell are you, Ward?" "I'm human," Ethan yelled back. "And I'm not letting them take this world." The world seed responded to his anger. Blue energy spread through the ground, creating glowing vines that wrapped around the hunter ships. Metal creaked and bent as the vines pulled them down. Lyra looked amazed. "You're controlling it." "Not for long," Ethan said through gritted teeth. His body shook as the power burned inside him. "It's too strong." The hunter ships fired again, breaking free from the glowing vines. One of them turned toward the surface, retreating but not to run. It was signaling for reinforcements. Lyra saw it and her eyes widened. "They're calling the fleet." "Fleet?" Ethan said. "As in more of those things?" She nodded. "Thousands." Reeves looked at Ethan and then at Lyra. His voice was harsh. "If this machine is really that dangerous, we have to destroy it now." "No," Lyra shouted. "Destroying it will tear this planet apart." Reeves ignored her and barked an order. "Set explosives around the core." Ethan stepped in front of him. "Stop, you'll kill everyone." Reeves aimed his rifle at Ethan. "Stand down, civilian." The world seed pulsed again, sensing the tension. The floor cracked under their feet. A deep humming voice echoed in Ethan's head, neither male nor female. Human bearer detected. Choice required, protect or erase. Ethan's vision blurred. He saw flashes, earth burning, oceans frozen, stars falling. The voice kept asking the same question. Protect or erase. He turned to Lyra. "If I choose wrong, this thing could end everything." She held his face gently, her fingers glowing. "Then choose what makes you human." The chamber began to collapse. One of the hunter ships fell into the earth with a loud crash. Soldiers screamed. The entire world seed blazed with light. Ethan raised his hands, blue fire swirling around him. "I choose to protect." The light burst outward like a wave. The red beams vanished. The drones melted into ash. Even the hunter ships stopped moving, suspended in the air like frozen statues. Then silence. Ethan fell to his knees, smoke rising from his hands. The glow faded from his eyes. Lyra caught him before he hit the ground. "It heard you," she whispered. "You saved them." Reeves looked around, stunned. "The hunters? Gone?" Ethan tried to speak but only managed a weak smile. "For now." Lyra looked upward. Through the cracks in the ceiling, Faint sunlight began to shine through the dust, but deep inside the world seed a low pulse continued to beat, steady, waiting, alive. Lyra's expression darkened. You stopped the battle, Ethan, but not the war. The fleet is still coming. The next morning, the sky above the city wasn't blue anymore. It had turned red, glowing like burning metal. People came out of their homes staring upward in fear. Huge shadows moved behind the clouds, shapes far larger than any plane. Ethan watched from a broken rooftop with Lyra beside him. Smoke still rose from the ruins below. His hands still felt numb from the power of the world seed. They're here, Lyra said quietly. The hunter fleet, how many? Ethan asked. She didn't answer. She didn't need to. The sky itself was full of them, massive ships that blocked the sun. Their hum was deep and endless, like the sound of a heartbeat from the heavens. Commander Reeves stood behind them with his soldiers, his face pale. We've been tracking those things since dawn. They're surrounding the planet. Every signal is jammed. Ethan looked at him. So Earth is under attack, Reeves nodded grimly. And no one's coming to help us. Lyra touched the small glowing mark on her wrist. The world seed can stop them, but it's weak. It used too much energy last night. Then we recharge it, Ethan said. Lyra shook her head. Not that simple. The seed draws power from living worlds, from emotion, from life itself. It listens to hearts, not machines. Reeves crossed his arms. Then we're doomed. Ethan stared at the red clouds. No, we fight back. They returned underground to the ancient chamber. The world seed now pulsed faintly, its glow dim. Cracks had formed across its surface, leaking thin streams of blue light. Ethan placed his hand on it. Come on, wake up. The machine didn't respond. Lyra closed her eyes. It's listening, Ethan, but it's waiting for something. It doesn't trust us anymore. Why not? Because humans and my kind both used it for war once. It remembers. Ethan thought for a moment, then whispered, Then we make it remember something better. He looked around at the soldiers. You all saw what it can do. If this thing feeds on life, maybe it just needs proof that we're worth saving. Reeves frowned. And how do we do that? Sing to it? Ethan ignored the sarcasm. He turned to Lyra. You said it reacts to emotion. What if everyone up there, every human being on Earth, focused on hope instead of fear? She stared at him. You think your species can do that? He smiled faintly. They've done crazier things. Hours passed. The world above turned darker as the alien fleet spread across the sky. Their giant ships began releasing smaller drones, each glowing red. Cities across the world prepared for battle. Ethan and Lyra worked beside the soldiers, connecting cables and power cores around the chamber. Every piece of energy they could find was directed into the world seed. Reeves walked over. Even if we wake it up, how do we control it? Ethan looked at Lyra. We don't, we just ask. Lyra nodded slowly. The seed listens to balance. One of us from my kind, one from yours, together. They stood before the glowing core. Ethan placed his right hand on it. Lyra placed her left. Blue light spread between them, forming a bridge of energy. Above them, thunder cracked. The world seed began to hum again. Its voice filled the entire chamber, deep and ancient. Two hearts. One choice, speak. Lyra's voice trembled. We asked for protection. For mercy on this world, Ethan added. For a chance to live. The light around them exploded upward, piercing the ceiling and shooting straight into the sky. For a moment, the red clouds broke apart, and the hunter ships froze in place. Every radio on Earth crackled at once. A deep voice echoed everywhere. Humanity is awake. Then the light vanished. The sky went silent. Reeves looked around. What did it do? Ethan opened his eyes slowly. It connected us. Connected us to what? To everyone. All across Earth, people suddenly felt a strange warmth in their chest. A quiet whisper inside their minds, gentle and familiar. It wasn't words, it was a feeling. Hope. In that moment, the world seed drew energy from every living being on the planet. The air shimmered with blue light. The ground vibrated with power. Lyra gasped. It's working. The fleet above began to shake. Red lights turned blue. One by one, the hunter ships started losing power, their engines flickering out. Some fell from the sky, crashing into the ocean. Others simply vanished in a burst of light. But the effort was too much. The world seed cracked again, this time deeper. Lyra screamed. It's overloading. Ethan tried to pull her back, but she held the core tightly. No! If it stops now, the power will collapse inward. It'll destroy half the planet. She looked at him with tears in her glowing eyes. I have to stay linked. No, Ethan said, gripping her hand. We do this together. The light grew brighter, wrapping around both of them. Reeves shouted from behind, but his voice was drowned by the storm of sound. Then everything turned white. When the light faded, the chamber was silent again. The cracks in the world seed had closed. It now pulsed slowly, calm, like a resting heart. Reeves looked around. Ethan, Lyra? Smoke drifted in the air. Then from the center of the room, Ethan moved, weak but alive. He looked at his hands. They glowed faintly blue. Lyra was gone. Only her voice echoed faintly in his mind. The seed chose you, human. Protect this world, until I return. Ethan looked up at the ceiling where the red sky was now clear and blue again. The war was over. But something deep inside the world seed had changed forever. The world was quiet again. Days had passed since the red sky vanished. The hunter fleet was gone, and people all over Earth whispered stories about blue lights, falling ships, and a man who saved the world. Ethan Ward didn't believe the stories. He was living in a medical facility built near the ruins of the underground chamber. His body still felt strange, warm inside like something alive was humming in his blood. When he looked into the mirror, he saw faint lines of blue under his skin, moving slowly like rivers of light. The doctors called it radiation, but Ethan knew better. It was the seed's power. Every night when he closed his eyes, he heard Lyra's voice echo softly inside his head. Protect this world, until I return. Sometimes he thought it was just a memory. Other times he felt she was truly there, somewhere beyond the stars. Commander Reeves visited him often. He stood at the foot of the hospital bed, arms crossed, looking more tired every day. You've been unconscious for 3 days last week, Reeves said. Your heartbeat isn't normal anymore. Machines can't even read half of your vitals. Ethan tried to smile. Guess I'm becoming a walking mystery. Reeves didn't smile back. You're more than that. Satellites picked up a new signal yesterday from orbit. Something's up there, Ethan. It's not human tech. Ethan's chest tightened. The hunters? Reeves shook his head. No, it's different, smaller, quieter, like someone's watching. Ethan looked out the window. The sky was bright blue, peaceful. But deep inside he felt a pull, a quiet whisper calling him east. He stood up. I need to see the chamber. Reeves frowned. It's sealed by government order. No one goes near it. Ethan looked at him, his eyes glowing faintly. I'm not no one anymore. Reeves hesitated, then sighed. Fine, but you're taking me with you. That night they returned to the underground site. The entrance was covered in debris, but the blue glow still leaked through the cracks. Ethan walked in first. The walls responded instantly. The carvings lit up as he passed. The world seed still pulsed softly in the center like a living heart, but something was different. It was growing. Thin vines of metallic blue crystal were spreading along the floor and walls, moving slowly like plants searching for light. The air smelled fresh like rain. Reeves whispered, It's rebuilding itself. Ethan touched one of the vines. The blue light followed his touch, curling gently around his hand. In that moment he saw flashes. Lyra's face, distant stars, and a giant city made of light floating in space. He gasped and stepped back. She's alive. Reeves looked at him sharply. How do you know? She's sending signals through the seed. She's trying to reach me. Before Reeves could reply, the ground trembled. The glowing vines retracted suddenly, and a circular platform rose from the center of the chamber. On it was a small orb, silver and blue, no larger than a human heart. It floated silently in the air. Ethan approached carefully. The orb pulsed once, and a beam of light projected above it. Lyra's image appeared, faint, like a hologram made of mist. Ethan, her voice echoed. If you see this, it means I'm still far away. The hunters are gone, but their masters will come. The war isn't over. You must prepare. Her voice cracked with static. The seed's energy is inside you now. It chose you as its guardian. Learn to control it, before it controls you. Then the light vanished. The orb fell into Ethan's hands. It was warm, alive. Reeves stared at him. Guardian of the seed, huh? That makes you the most dangerous man on Earth. Ethan closed his fingers around the orb. Or the one chance we have left? Outside, storm clouds gathered again. The sky flashed once, not red this time, but green, like an aurora twisting across the heavens. Reeves grabbed his radio. "We've got movement in orbit. Multiple objects descending." Ethan didn't move. His glowing eyes watched the sky. "They're early," he whispered. "Who?" Reeves demanded. Ethan turned to him slowly. "The Masters. The ones who created the Hunters." He looked down at the orb. Its light was growing stronger, beating in rhythm with his heart. "We're not ready," Reeves said quietly. Ethan's voice was calm, but his eyes burned with blue fire. "Then we better get ready fast." The ground shook again, louder this time. In the distance, sirens wailed, and far above the clouds something vast moved so large it made the stars disappear. The night sky burned green. Across every city on Earth, people stood in the streets looking up. The stars were vanishing one by one, swallowed by something dark and enormous that moved between them. In the ruins of the underground chamber, Ethan Ward stood before the glowing world seed, the small orb pulsing in his hands. Commander Reeves stood beside him, his voice tight. "They're entering the atmosphere. We've got 5 minutes before contact." Ethan didn't answer. The blue glow beneath his skin was brighter now, like lightning trapped inside his veins. He could feel the world seed's heartbeat matching his own. Lyra's last message echoed in his mind. "Learn to control it before it controls you." He took a deep breath. "Let's finish this." The ground above split open as the first of the master ships descended. They were not like the Hunters. These ships were vast, living things of metal and shadow. Their surface shifted like skin, covered in thousands of red eyes that blinked in unison. Reeves's soldiers opened fire from every direction, but the blasts vanished against invisible shields. One of the ships opened its mouth, yes, a mouth, and released a sound like a scream mixed with thunder. Windows shattered. The air itself trembled. Reeves shouted, "They're targeting the seed." Ethan raised the orb and the world seed roared to life. Blue light exploded outward, pushing the air away in waves. The ground vibrated as if something deep beneath was waking again. "Come on," Ethan whispered. "Wake up," the world seed responded. Columns of blue energy shot from the earth all across the planet, through mountains, oceans, and cities. It was like the planet itself had veins of light. People everywhere felt it. Farmers in the fields, children in the streets, soldiers on the front lines all felt warmth in their hearts. The same pulse Ethan carried. The world was alive. Lyra's voice suddenly echoed in his head again, clear, strong, real. "Ethan, I'm coming back." The orb glowed so bright that it hurt to look at. Then a beam of light descended from the sky, piercing through the clouds, and from it, she appeared. Lyra. But she was changed. Her body shimmered with energy, her skin now glowing like crystal. She floated down gently beside Ethan, her silver eyes soft but fierce. "You kept your promise," she said. He smiled. "You said you'd return." Reeves blinked in disbelief. How are you alive?" "I became part of the seed," Lyra said simply. "And it became part of him." She looked at Ethan. "We are one now, human and alien. Two hearts sharing one power." The ground shook again. One of the master ships fired a red beam straight at them. Lyra raised her hand and Ethan mirrored her. Together they unleashed a wave of blue fire that collided with the beam and split it apart like glass. The explosion lit the entire sky. Ethan floated into the air beside her. "How do we stop them?" Lyra looked upward, her face calm. "We don't destroy them. We wake them," he frowned. "Wake them? They are not alive like you think. They are machines built by my ancestors, programmed to cleanse worlds, but they still have hearts of code. If we reach them, we can rewrite what they see." Ethan nodded. "Then let's rewrite history." They joined hands. Their combined light grew so bright that Reeves and his men had to shield their eyes. The world seed rose from the ground behind them, floating upward, spinning faster and faster until it became a blinding sphere of light. The master ships began to tremble. Their red eyes flickered, turning white, then blue. The air filled with whispers, millions of voices, confused, awakening from an endless dream. "What are we? Why do we destroy? Who calls us?" Ethan shouted, his voice echoing like thunder. "You were made to end life. But now you can protect it. The humans, the world, deserve a chance." For a moment, silence. Then the largest ship in the sky pulsed once and turned away. One by one, the others followed. The dark fleet that had covered the stars slowly began to ascend, drifting upward, leaving Earth behind. The clouds parted. The sky cleared. The stars returned. Lyra fell to her knees, exhausted. Ethan caught her, holding her close. The blue light around them faded to a soft glow. "You did it," she whispered. He shook his head. "We did it." Reeves approached slowly, still in awe. "So, it's over?" Lyra smiled weakly. "No wars ever truly end, but peace begins with a single choice." She looked at Ethan with quiet sadness. "The seed's power is fading. It must rest again. And so must I." He gripped her hand tighter. "No, stay with me." Lyra's eyes shimmered. "I will in every breath you take. The seed lives through you now. Protect it and this world." Her body began to dissolve into light. Ethan tried to hold on, but his fingers passed through her. She smiled one last time. "Goodbye, human." Then she was gone, her light rising into the sky like a falling star in reverse. Ethan stood alone beneath the open night sky. The world seed sank slowly into the earth, sealing itself once more. The glow in his hands dimmed but never died. Reeves walked up beside him. "What now?" Ethan watched the stars. "Now we rebuild. And wait for what? For her, or for whoever needs saving next." The wind was quiet. The stars were bright. And somewhere in that endless sky a faint whisper answered, "I'll be watching, human."